delighted to have the opportunity to share with you some thoughts on the new security dilemma, the new security dilemma. The traditional dilemma comes from geopolitics, and it has anchored much of our thinking about security. And the traditional dilemma reminds us that increases in one country's security, for example, increasing its military budget, results in another country's insecurity, being threatened by that possible increase. As a result, everybody becomes more insecure as a result of the quest for security by one state. That is really the traditional way of thinking about security. And the more they increase their budgets and reactions come, the less secure the whole system is. Now, the new security dilemma is a dilemma of the 21st century, a major dilemma. Let me define it, and then we turn to the East African region. To be secure today, a state, a country, a community, a society must have security in its physical spaces, its own physical spaces, geopolitical security. It also must have enough security with respect to life-supporting properties, meaning the natural environment. Some clean air, some clean water, and so on, but it's necessary. And then the third dimension of security today is cybersecurity. It's new, but we have to manage it. Put it differently, the security dilemma or security today is a three-dimensional phenomenon. It is not just a question of geopolitical. We must be secure in our territory, we must have environmental security, and of course, we would like to have cybersecurity. Now, all of this constitutes the foundations for the new security dilemma. And there are really three reasons this situation we're in is a dilemma. In the first reason, and the most obvious, is that none of us can choose to opt out of society or opt out of life-supporting properties or opt out really of cyberspace. We could, but we're unlikely to do so. So we are embedded in all three of the security dimensions. And if any one of these fails, unfortunately, we are likely all to fail. Now, the second reason we're in the middle of the security dilemma, 21st century security dilemma, is because we don't have a trade-off calculus. We can't say, well, I'm going to trade a bit of environmental security for a lot of cybersecurity, or I'm going to cash in all my geopolitical security to buy some more or environmental security, let's say. So there's some constraints on what we can do. And the third reason why the situation is a dilemma is because each of the dimensions of cybersecurity is in itself growing, or cyber insecurity is growing very fast. We have geopolitical threats. We have environmental damages that we want to do something about and prevent future damages. And of course, we're beginning to realize that the cyber domain, cyberspace, digital world itself is subject to insecurities. So what do? We can't say, well, not our problem, future generations will take care of this. They'll be smarter than we are, they can take care of this. Not a reasonable way to proceed, really not. Now, it may be that we do have another option. We have the possibility of trying to accelerate the return on the investments that we have already made as a global community to environmental security, to the development of the cyber domain. But it's a good idea, but it's a little bit dicey because we've made those investments hoping they are targeted in the right direction. And even when we're successful, we really cannot undo, for example, the past rise in sea level. You can't rewind and reset. In the cyber domain, we know that individuals, you and me, and as individuals, are very vulnerable because we don't take enough precautions in our use of cyberspace. So we're creating the insecurities ourselves. We now know also that most individuals everywhere don't even think of cybersecurity as being an issue for them individually until they've had something of a crisis. Now, we come back full circle to the third element of security, which is the geopolitical security. Now, if we were able to solve the geopolitics of it, the traditional way of thinking about security, we would be much better off, of course, but it's not portable to the natural environment, to the security of the natural environment. It's not portable necessarily to the cyber domain. So what all is said and done, we have to find a more pragmatic way of thinking about addressing the new dilemma, security dilemma of the 21st century. So my basic argument that I'd like to share with you is that the key to resolving the dilemma, the key to resolving the issues I've just raised, can be found in a combination of cyberspace and the digital transformation with generative AI, not necessarily with the bombs and bullets and our traditional tools. Now, here's an example. We know that to enhance the security of the natural environment, we can substitute communication for mobility. In other words, it's not necessary to take an airplane somewhere to talk to somebody. And we also know that we have been able to accelerate dematerialization and demassification and massification, and we do that because we have other kinds of tools, which is related to the cyber domain and related to the digital transformation. Enormous amount of investments has already been put in the domain of cyber, virtual, digital, etc. And I'm happy to say, including some steps towards enhanced international cooperation. We must do more. None of this is easy, of course, but at least it's in our own hands. At least we can control that. And that's a step in the right direction. Now, a brief word on the East African region. By some counts, there are at least 339 million people in East Africa that are unconnected to the virtual global system. I would consider that an opportunity and not a liability. They will be coming online very soon, large numbers online, and they will be doing so with the most recent technology and the most recent tools and practices with respect to cybersecurity, better strategies than the ones we have. That's my perspective, but it's aspirational. We aspire to that. We expect that. So let me conclude with the following: the transformation from aspiration to operational is going to happen, and we will be seeing it particularly in that region with large-scale technology leapfrogging. We already know that, and by that I mean the use of technologies that are innovative and not a replication of the technologies of the industrial trajectory of the West. And it's in this context that I believe that East Africa can be at the forefront of this transition, the transition towards operational. Just to conclude on a practical point, for example, when these 339 million, a fraction thereof, people come online, we can see the related possibilities for dematerialization. More knowledge is available, more application of dematerialization techniques and demassification, and moving away from the heaviness of the industrial model that still prevails in many parts of the world. So with that, I would say that could very well be very much to look forward to. in the digital arena with cyberspace, assuming cybersecurity, and of course, keeping in mind the emergent trajectories of generativity and AI. Thank you.